Hello, Math130 students. We will be picking up on page 23, section 2.7, vertical line test and graphs of a function. So remember that our definition of our functions was that every member in the domain has exactly one member in the range, right? So kind of like saying our x values don't repeat. So if you want to think of it in those terms, that's fine. But now we're given an additional tool to understand functions. It's going to be our visual representation. So for our visual representation, we have the vertical line test. I like to call it the VLT test, right? The vertical line test. So what's happening is, if you were to have a graph, so let's say that red line is a graph, then the vertical line test says that if a vertical line is drawn and it hits the point at most one time, it is a function. If it hits it more than once, then therefore it is not a function, So let's look at this first one. If I were to zoom in on it, so all of these vertical lines, you can just think of it, oh, that's me trying to see how many times my red graph is going to be intersected by a vertical line. And here it only intersects it once, therefore it is a function. Same thing with a parabola. Here we have the red graph and all those black lines that we see here, right? This is just a vertical line, it hits it once. This is another vertical line, it hits it twice, or hits it once. So because that vertical line hits the graph at most one time, then it is a function. Versus for the last one, let's say a circle, if I were to draw a vertical line, then what ends up happening is this vertical line hits the graph here and here. That's 2 points of intersection. So we say, no, this is not going to be a function because it fails the vertical line test. This is the same thing as saying, hey, this point right here, if you think of the coordinates, it's going to be 1, and let's say that's just 5. And then this point over here is going to be a 1, and I don't know, like a 1.5 or so, right? So we can see that our x values are repeating. So remember from the very beginning, I said that the x values don't repeat. And here the x values are repeating. So therefore that is going to be not a function. So let's look at these examples below. It says determine if the following graphs are functions. So here's our keyword, right? The functions. So you can think of it now in two different ways. So whenever you see functions, you can say, oh, okay, well, it means that, the x values don't repeat. And the second way you can think about it is visual, by the vertical line test, right? So for example number 1, I see my graph. So if I were to draw a vertical line going straight up and down, then I can see that this vertical line intersects this graph here and here. Therefore it fails the vertical line test, so fails the vertical line test, and therefore it is not a function. For number 2, again, I'm going to draw a vertical line. So let's say I were to draw my line here. Well, I can see that the graph and that vertical line intersect only at one point. Therefore, it passes the vertical line test. Therefore, yes, it is a function. So now we have some more graphs below. So here, I'm looking at this, and for number 3, if I were to draw a vertical line, and let's say we were to draw it here, right, on the axis. Well, this would be 0, 0. But then this one would have been, let's say, 0.00001, comma, 0.000001. So this is not repeating, okay? So this is going to be yes, passes the vertical line test. So you can say that this is going to be yes, a function. For number 4, I'm looking at this and I'm like, okay, well, if I were to draw a vertical line, let's say here, we actually have this vertical line intersect it twice. So this is going to be no, fails the vertical line test. So we are going to say that no, not a function. So the difference is very small, but you can still see it between example 3 and number 4. Okay, and I think that is the end of this section and this chapter. If you guys have any questions, please feel free to email me and or contact the Math Success Center. Thank you.